thinking about what we could focus on for tonight, last week, our last ones that we gathered, we had some power issues in the building, but it didn't stop us from having a conversation and worshiping and hanging out with one another and talking through the discipline of prayer. Tonight, I wanted us to look at practicing a rhythm of reflection and a rhythm of processing. I'm titling our discipleship focus for tonight, Clearing the Clutter of the Soul. Clearing the clutter of the soul. Are some of you guys hanging on to some of the freedom and the warmth of summer still? Like maybe a slower schedule, maybe an open schedule. Some of you are like, nah, I'm good. I'm glad that summer's done. In every season that we journey through, there's a shift that seems to need to happen so that we can function at our highest capacity and enjoy what is going on around us with peace. How many of you guys got to the end of summer and then struggled with transitioning the end of summer and then the beginning of fall so far? Yeah, it's been a little clunky. And some of that clunkiness comes with just switching your mindset, switching schedules. Maybe some of you guys have families and kids are going to school and you're committed to certain things, and it's a new schedule or a new cycle of schedules that you have to shift your work stuff around. Our focus today is to practice the discipline of examine and reflection, allowing God to help us to be ready in our transitions from one season to the next so that we can identify and process through anything hard, celebrate the victories and the joys that we've had, and then move presently through to the next season with peace and readiness in our spirit. We're going to be in the book of Psalms. It's going to be Psalm chapter 139. It's going to be verse 1 to 12. And then our key verses of focus are going to be actually the last two verses of the Psalm. And so I'm going to read through Psalm 1 through 12 for us, and then I will land on the practical pieces in verses 23 and 24. It says, "You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely." Interesting there that it says, before a word is uttered out of my mouth, the Lord knows it completely. That means the Lord knows when I'm going to say something good to someone and bless someone, and the Lord also knows when I'm frustrated and I'm going to potentially cuss somebody out. Think about that for a second. When was the last time that you were short with somebody or said some things that were not so nice to somebody? Like how many of you guys in the last 24 hours, you didn't say something nice to somebody? These hands shot up real quick.
Last hour.
Okay. All right. Don't make eye contact with anybody in the room. You may incriminate yourselves. But think about that. Or how many of you guys have blessed somebody or said something kind to somebody in the last 24 hours? Okay. How many of you guys are actively in the acknowledgement and recognition and self-awareness that whether it's good or bad, God knows what we're going to say? And although we can kind of make the excuse of, I can't hold my tongue, God knows exactly that you can't. But he knows that under his power and his processing, you can. And he's waiting, right? Next, verse 5. You hem me in behind and before. You lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, and too lofty for me to understand. And this is that concept that, let's say, this is us and this is God, and He kind of holds us in His hands. Kind of like, how many of you guys have been to the farm and you guys have held like a baby chick? I did one time and it was super traumatic, so I don't do it anymore, right? Or how many of you guys have held like a little like newborn baby? Newborn babies are like the funniest to hold because they're like gummy earrings, you know? They don't know how to hold themselves up, so you're kind of balancing this little like jello thing in your hand. And that's why they have to be swaddled all the time, because you're kind of scared if they don't get swaddled, they'll just like goop out of your hand somehow, you know? But that's the type of care that God has for us, that He holds us, He hems us, it says, from behind and from before, which means that He has our back, right? He's actually tucking us in from the back, and He's making sure that we're being bundled in the front. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. Where can I go from your spirit? This is one of the omnis, right? And we talked about this before, that there's this theological word, omni. It means all. And it's attributed to God in a lot of different ways, but here's two. Omnipresent, which means all present. God is everywhere. And also the search me, you know everything that I'm going to say before I say it. Omniscient, right? Omni, and then kind of science or conscious. God knows everything that we're going to do or everything that we're thinking before we think it. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, and if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. And God is not in the practice of knowing everything that we know and being everywhere that we are so that He can nag us, so that He can look over our shoulder and tell us that we're doing something wrong, or so that He can keep a running tally of when we do things that He doesn't want us to do, right? It says that even in those places, whether we're close to Him or not, His hand is there to guide us. His right hand will hold us fast. When my nieces and nephews first start walking, and I have a few of them, but they get to this age where they first start walking, and you're really excited for them to walk. It's when they're comfortable with the first two steps, but they're still clumsy enough to not balance themselves, but they want to run, you know, and they smile at you with those first two steps, and then they get like that speed racer look in their face, and then they start running, but you know they're going to run into stuff. I get really anxious. My sisters are always like, "Oh, let them fall. It's okay, they'll learn." And I think that that's a parent thing, like they'll learn. But as an uncle, I'm always like, nah, like I'm running to grab them before they run into anything. And I think that God is willing to let us run. He's willing to let us go in any direction it is that we're going. But it says that even if we're close or we're far away from Him, His hand is right there. His hand is right there to guide us, and His hand is right there to hold us fast. If you say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. So if we're struggling through transitioning, if we're struggling through some hard things, if it just feels a little wonky in this season, this is the hope, that it doesn't feel that way to God. Because our worst day is still not bothersome to Him. Not because He's removed and He doesn't care about what is happening in our lives, but He knows that He has something better for us. He knows that there's a better way to process, there's a better way through, and it's with Him. And this is where our focus verses come to us tonight from verses 23 and 24. It says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there are any offensive ways in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." And so if we're trying to declutter, right, if we're trying to cleanse the cluttering of our souls, then it's this verse right here. It's these two passages right here. How do we declutter? If you have a really good friend who doesn't care about your hoarding and you can have them be accountable for you, then bring that friend along, because they'll go, "No, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that." And then your house is clean, right? But how do you do that with your spirit? This is how David did it. He said, "God, search me. You know my heart. So test me, because you know my anxious thoughts. If there's anything that I fear and I just don't know how to process through it, if there's anything that's causing me anxiety and I can feel it on the surface level, but I'm not sure of where it's coming from, you know where it's coming from. See if there's anything offensive that is in me, right? If there's any offensive way in me. Am I being poor of character towards somebody? And lead me in the way everlasting." Well, what's his everlasting way? Let's look at that. That first part, give God access to your heart, right? Give God access to your heart. God, search me, search my heart, know my heart. What we hide from God, we hide from others and ourselves as well. We can pretend that it's not there. We can pretend like, "Hey, it's too much for me," or "I didn't do that," or "I don't know what you're talking about." But sometimes these hidden things aren't meant to be hidden. I know that there's probably a few unprocessed things in your heart right now that's sitting there. And the truth is, unprocessed things in your heart, they don't go away, right? It's like a closet. So if your heart is a compartment, that unprocessed thing is holding up a space in your heart that's unprocessed. And if it's unprocessed, it leaves you less capacity. But maybe sometimes your unprocessed thing isn't meant to be hidden. You were just in a season where a lot was going on, right? And you didn't mean it to be hidden, but you forgot then to process it. And you meant to go back to it. Or maybe then you couldn't, or you wouldn't deal with it in the moment. And the more we do that, the more it piles up and the more stuff gets away from us and becomes clutter in our hearts that take up space, that leaves us low in capacity, and that drains our spirit. And so when God searches your heart, those things might be revealed. Next, document and interact with what God reveals. It says, "Test me and know my anxious thoughts." When we allow God to search our hearts, He will reveal something that sometimes may have caused us pain, may have caused us anxiety, may have caused us fear and or stress. And some of this might be new, and some of it may be very old, or it's been there for quite some time. But take these revelations a step at a time, right? Take these revelations a step at a time. Man, there's been a lot that I've been sharing about my own personal life, so I feel like you guys know me a lot and I can be honest with you. But there's been a lot of things that I've had to ask God to process with me, and most of the time I write it down. I write it down because most of the times, you guys know, I'm very emotive, so I lead with my heart and I lead with emotion. So I'll say something like, "Hey, I feel sad today." And if I'm processing that well with the Lord, it's this. Let me use that as an example. Let me use that as an example. Okay, I've documented it. I've interacted with the Lord on it, and it'll lead to the next point. But I've been feeling a little melancholy, right? Which means like a little sad, like not deep sadness, but it lingers a little bit. How many of you guys are feeling that a little bit right now? Okay. I'm a little sad in this season because I'm 3 months away from my dad's first anniversary of not being with us. It's going to be really hard. I'm a month away from turning 44. And it'll be my first birthday without my dad. That'll be really hard. We are also a month away from celebrating Rock and Refuge's first anniversary. So it's joyful, but it's a little sad. I don't know why, right? And so I'm processing it with God, and I go, God, like, what's sad about that? My dad's with you in heaven. He doesn't have cancer anymore. He probably looks better than me. He definitely can run faster than me and longer than me. But there's no more sickness and no more pain, and he doesn't have any more tears. I'm just sad that he's not here with me. And I love the community that you're building and that I get to be a part of. So what's the sadness? Our third point is this. Let God identify the clutter. See if there is any offensive way in me. God will go deeper with you if you go deeper with God. Ask through prayer, what could the root cause of the anxiety or the pain or the fear or the sadness be? Does it have to do with someone or a situation that you've experienced? Is it something that you've done or something that has been done to you? So here's the worked out sadness for me. I realized that because I don't have any biological brothers, and when I was younger, my dad would say, hey, I can be your big brother. I am truly biologically brotherless. Not that I don't have brothers in the room. I love the men in my life. It just hits a little different, so it's a little sad. And when God identifies some of that anxiety, some of that fear, and some of that sadness, there's not really a big resolution or a fix-it to it, right? Like, I'm sad, and God goes, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to have that melancholy feeling because your heart misses somebody, right? So does it have to do with someone or a situation that you've experienced? Is it something that you've done or something that has been done to you? Celebration has been something that I haven't done well. So melancholy in this season for Rock and Refuge and for celebrating our 1 year anniversary is, God, please let me move into celebration with this community well. Because my instincts, my default is to go, yay, 1 year, and then like keep moving. But when I think about the commitment of the people in this community to grow it, the sacrifices that they've made to invest in it, and the vulnerability that they have given to create a safe space where people can belong, I want to make sure that everybody in this community knows you did this. We all did. Like, we're doing it. Fourth, lead me in the way everlasting. In verse 24, it says, see if there's if there's any offensive way in me, and then the last part, and lead me in the way everlasting. God's everlasting way is everlasting peace and everlasting love. When you read about what's everlasting in the kingdom, these are the things that above all else will be everlasting. There's everlasting love because God is love. There's everlasting peace because there will be no more injustice. There will be no more death. There will be no more sickness. There will be peace. So gauge where you are and what has been revealed to you. Can we do that? As God processes with you through some of these things, think about what you can share with others and how that might help you. Knowing that you have support moving from one season to the next helps you feel more assured and more confident that, one, you've not been left isolated where you have been, so you're not alone in that season trying to process things out, and two, you're moving from that season to a new one, and you're moving not by yourself. Other people are also there with you. And so this is our reflection time. I'm going to give us a few minutes here just to reflect on Psalms 139, verse 23 to 24. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Is there something that you have been feeling or thinking, and maybe you don't know what that is, but God is kind of pushing you to think through that? Take a moment to identify it, and then we'll interact with that together as a group. Okay, I'll give us a couple minutes. And our discussion time for tonight are these three prompts here. Share with each other at least one of the thoughts or feelings God has revealed to you in your reflection time. Second, what is that thought or feeling tied to? Is there something deeper that you're working through? And three, talk with one another about the next steps that you might need to move towards God's love and peace in this area. And so, definitely, this feels a little bit more weighty as a Wednesday night discipleship focus. Feel free to be honest and vulnerable as much as you can. So this is not one of those times where everybody needs to add in something, but if you definitely need to share, do that. Okay. And so let's break into groups, and then when it feels like it's kind of resolved a little bit, then I'll come and pray for us then.